One of the things that I think is weird, frankly, is we're coming off of 4 years of seeing a much increase. So this is a much increased conversation on race and racism, and people have been articulating narratives about racism in our structures, and have even, some of the stuff I think I can quarrel with a little bit in terms of our understanding of just how pernicious, like police violence has been on the lives of black people at large in America, things like this. My issue is I'm interested to see how these people will translate all of that, and they're attempting to translate this narrative and then say, oh yeah, so Joe Biden is the guy who's gonna fix all that, No, the anger and the like palpable concern about America and its like likeliness to care for dispossessed populations, no one can be confused or fooled by the idea that Joe Biden is going to be the vessel for that, or that Kamala Harris would be.
Billy, you started this whole paragraph by saying, I gotta be hopeful. I'm gonna find the hope here, and so I'm gonna put that back on you because we gotta wrap this up. So I'm just gonna put that back on you to find some hope, ASAP, like real quick.
Find some hope. The hope is in just asking, just being present, and making sure the conversation continues.
I knew I should have said you're not allowed to use the word conversation.
Here's the thing, no, because Jesse, the problem is that everything is a conversation, It's not about communicating words verbally. Okay? Everything's a conversation, and Donald Trump made that conversation untenable. It was impossible for us to look at the same fact, the same event, and come up with a coalescing narrative, a narrative that we can all agree upon. It was impossible because he was intentionally infecting that.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is that there's an opportunity now to begin to sort of do that, but that gives us a foundation to then like ask and demand for like political, for political change. But that's the end goal. The conversation isn't awesome in and of itself, but it's essential, or else we're just stuck in this bullshit.
I'm just terrified that I think there is a real opportunity right now in the fact that neither party talks about issues, so that you can now start talking about issues in a way that's not seen as party politics in some way. So it's like, I'm really terrified about this idea of we're going to heal the country by reaching out to Republicans and reach out. It's like, well, it's like if you're somebody who believes that climate change is the most important thing, how are you going to reach out to somebody who believes that stopping this massive children's sex cannibalism ring is the most important thing in the country? Like that would be a crazy task to go on. So the idea that you can heal the country by just starting to talk about problems, or not even or visions for the future, and without reference to the Patriots and the Ravens, without reference to those political parties for a while, like this for me is like a potential place of hope. If that political energy could somehow move in that direction and away from these parties for a while. Yeah. I don't know.
But that's the whole thing, and that's why I love what we're doing with this podcast, is to try not, like, we're going straight at it. We're talking about the political parties, but typically we don't do that. It's like, can we talk about issues? The problem is that for many of us, myself included, I guess, maybe not so much, but for many of us, there's an attachment to, we instead of like assessing a situation, there's a keyword or a buzzword that connects to either Republican bad, Democrat good, X, Y, Z, and so there's this like, okay, that's the right move, as opposed to getting into the nuanced and difficult nature of any of these conversations. And the problem is, and I'll speak as someone who works where I work, man, the problem has a lot of its roots in the model conversations that are occurring on our television sets and on our phones, where millions and millions of people are watching. I don't know if that's hopeful, man. I don't know if I've given you any hope right now, bro.
No, you haven't. But it's all right. I knew this was going to be the hopeless episode. We've done a lot of uplifting episodes. This one's about the perspective of the American voter. It would be hard. It would be hard to turn around.
Have the two parties successfully maneuvered into a place of pure iconography and marketing where they don't have to address anything in a meaningful way.
That's what I'm afraid of. That's what, like, Justin Trudeau won re-election in Canada with having done pretty much nothing that he promised to do except legalize marijuana, which, you know, people in the U.S. might think is the most amazing thing ever. So I've talked to some people who say that's like absolutely incredible, but it's happening in the U.S. anyways now. It's really interesting. It's happening in blue states and red states and all kinds of stuff. It's really fabulous. But like, that's for all the things that he promised to do. It's like a pathetic result, you know, that's the only thing that actually happened, and in many ways did the opposite of what he said he was going to do, and then got reelected. So this is obviously a bigger problem than just the United States. Also, he got away with a corruption scandal, that the SNC-Lavalin corruption scandal, and along with other corruption scandals, but there's a current one happening right now with the We Charity, it's called. He's been involved in corruption scandals that in the past in Canadian history, almost every time the Liberals or the Conservatives have been knocked out of power in Canada, it's been because of some corruption scandal. Corruption scandals often involving numbers that would be laughably low in the United States. Like how much somebody got, you know, $100,000 here or something like this. And it's like governments fall in
amateurs
and just losing all, honestly amateur stuff, like playing checkers, you know, like instead of chess, and the major party getting wiped out of power as a result. And Trudeau's survived multiple corruption scandals at scales way larger than anything that knocked out these previous governments. And it's like it's totally the society of the spectacle. It's totally that there's just people who just feel like that's couldn't have been him, you know? They just feel like, I'm sure he tried to stop it, and I think next time he'll do better. Or like, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Or they just don't want to hear it, or they just never hear it, you know?
The expectations are so low.
It's crazy.
Ralph Nader used to talk about how politicians used to be heralded, and these were like the cream of society. Like people, you know, hey, please represent this, and now politicians, you know, no one expects anything but corruption and lies, and that's and it's horrendous.
Especially the people that love them. I don't know. Anyways, let's end this, because this is spiraling into deeper and deeper pits, and and we're trying to keep it upbeat and future facing, right? Typically, I think.
Typically, we end it future facing and positive.
Yeah.
And I'm attempting struggling. It. You've been an asshole this whole time. As soon as we turn the fucking camera on.
All right, so let's just agree that this episode is not going to end like that. And you'll have to come back and for episode 10 if you want some of that classic Billy and Jesse loving banter and uplifting conclusion.
I'm hopeful, not about the Biden administration. I'm positive about people's propensity to stay interested for longer than usual here. I have a feeling that we can pull this off, the collective we, and be interested and demand more, and have him have to deal and contend with a few things. I don't know what. But I don't see the fawning love and adoration that Barack Obama had, right? He's a less impressive person in a number of ways, and I think people are like, ugh, this is like, people are like, wow, I got engaged to get rid of the idiot, and I have.
It's like you're gonna have to do something to keep me engaged, kind of thing, because you just speaking is clearly not gonna do it. Yeah, maybe you're right. No, I agree. That's hopeful. Let's end it right there before we say another word. I really do believe we should just cut it because it's just a matter of seconds before we spin back to something horrible, I think.
Exactly. We'll see how it goes, man.
The most hopeful thing we could come up with is that the guy who won is so wholly uninspiring that he will have to do something in order to keep people in any way engaged with his administration. I agree.
Something like that.
Great episode,
like
Billy. This has been great. Actually, I'm glad we got some of this stuff off our chest.